Here's what I've noticed over 2 decades of sitting across from couples. The ones who end up in my office are not bad partners. They're not selfish people. In fact, most of them are incredibly capable, driven, and devoted human beings. But at some point, they started running on default. Life got full, the kids, the careers, the house, the logistics, and they stopped doing the small things that keep a relationship alive. Not because they stopped caring, but because nobody ever told them those small things were actually the whole game. So today, think of this episode as a relationship audit. We're going to look at 3 very specific habits that erode connection over time. And then I'm going to give you a way to interrupt all 3 of them with one simple practice. Before we do that, I want to remind you about my 6-week program called Weekly Reset. It's helping couples start to have couples check-ins every week. I'll be holding you accountable to having these weekly check-ins, but first, I'm going to teach you how to do them effectively. How can we have these weekly moments of connection that don't feel like project mode or leading to a big fight? You'll be able to ask me questions over the 6 weeks, and I'll be guiding you on different ways to navigate challenging conversations that may come up during your couples check-in. We start June 10th, so make sure you click on Weekly Reset in the show notes to learn more and to register. Okay, go grab a warm drink and let's dive in. Welcome to Relationship Reset, a podcast for high-achieving couples who've been together for over a decade and don't want to feel like roommates anymore. I'm Katie Russler, relationship strategist and couples counselor with almost 20 years of experience helping ambitious couples reconnect, strengthen communication, and turn their relationship into the best part of their success story. This podcast is about using practical tools and a lot of real talk to help you understand your patterns, stop feeling stuck and discouraged, and start working on your relationship in ways that actually fit your busy life. Because your relationship shouldn't be the cost of your success, it should be the best part of it. So let's dive in. So here's sabotage pattern number 1. You're running on assumptions instead of conversations. Here's something I say to couples almost every week. Resentment doesn't build because people are selfish. It builds because people assume without asking. Think about how your relationship began. You talked a lot about what you wanted, what you hoped for, how you liked things done, what mattered to you. You were actively curious about each other. And then life happened. And somewhere along the way, you stopped having those conversations because you figured you already knew. You've been together 10, 15, 20 years. You've got this person figured out, right? Except here's the thing. People don't stop evolving just because you've been together a long time. They keep changing. Their needs shift. Their capacity shifts. What they needed from you 5 years ago might be very different from what they need now. But most couples are still operating off the old map. So what happens? Unspoken expectations pile up. One partner thinks they're clearly doing their part, and the other is silently keeping score. Nobody ever agreed to the rules, but somehow everyone's losing. I worked with a couple once where the wife had been quietly seething about the mental load she was carrying, the invisible planning, the anticipating, the tracking of every detail of their family. And her husband genuinely had no idea. He thought things were running well. He thought she was fine. The map in his head was years out of date, and no one had updated it. This is the first way couples sabotage their relationship. They stop having the conversations that keep both people on the same page. They assume, they infer, they guess, and they slowly build up a mountain of resentment over agreements that were never actually made. The fix isn't a big come-to-Jesus conversation. It's a regular one, a structured, intentional check-in where both people get to say, here's where I am, here's what I'm carrying, here's what I need now. More on what that looks like in a minute. Okay, sabotage pattern number 2. You're optimizing for relief instead of repair. This one is subtle, and it's one of the most common patterns I see in high-achieving couples specifically. When things get tense, when there's a conflict or a hard conversation, what's the goal? For most couples, the goal is to make the discomfort stop, to get back to okay as fast as possible, to smooth it over. Say the right thing, move on. That's what I call optimizing for relief. And relief feels like repair, but it's not. Relief is when the tension goes away. Repair is when both people leave feeling hurt. And most couples are chasing relief, not because they're conflict avoidant, but because they're exhausted and busy and they just want things to be okay again. But here's what happens when you consistently optimize for relief. The thing that caused the tension never actually gets resolved. So it comes back with interest. And over time, both partners start to feel like nothing ever really gets better. Like they have the same fight on repeat and nothing changes. Have you noticed that? The same argument, slightly different costume every few weeks? That's relief without repair. And what makes it worse is that one partner often senses the difference. She knows he's agreeing to end the argument, but not because he actually heard her. He knows she's dropped it, but it's really not okay. Trust starts to erode, not dramatically, but slowly, steadily, and quietly. And here's the other piece. Most couples try to have hard conversations when they're already activated, already dysregulated, already past the point where anything productive can happen. For some of us, the only time of day we can talk is at the end of the day, when we're just exhausted. But the research is really clear. When your heart rate goes above a certain threshold, you literally cannot problem solve. You're in survival mode. And yet, that's exactly when most couples try to work through their biggest issues. The fix isn't avoiding hard conversations, it's creating a container for them, a designated, lower stakes space where things can come up before they become blow ups, where repair can actually happen, not just relief. And this is exactly what the weekly reset is designed to do. One of the core things I teach in the program is how to use your weekly check in as a pressure valve so that small things get said before they become big things, so that hard stuff has a place to land that isn't in the middle of a fight. It's not therapy, it's a skill, and once you have it, everything shifts. So make sure to click on Weekly Reset in the show notes to learn more. Now, sabotage pattern number 3. You've stopped being curious about each other. Okay, this is the one that tends to land the hardest in sessions with me. So I want you to really sit with it. When is the last time you asked your partner a question you didn't already know the answer to? And the funny thing is, you're probably going, well, I feel like I know so much about them already. I don't even know a question to ask that I don't know the answer to. Mayday, mayday, the ship is sinking. That's a problem. We need to be asking real questions about who they are, what they're thinking about, what they're excited by, what's been sitting with them lately. My husband likes to ask me, what's something you're looking forward to this week? And sometimes it makes me pause because I'm in autopilot often and going like, oh, well, I should be looking forward to something this week. And then I start thinking about what am I actually going to create to look forward to? So it's really helpful to have these conversations, not only so that my partner gets to know me better, but also so that I take the time to reflect on myself. You have to be able to see your partner as a person, not just a function, not just the role they play in the operation of your life. But in long term relationships, especially busy ones, we start to relate to our partners like a character in a story we've already read. We know this person, we know how they'll respond, we know what they think about this topic, we've got them categorized. Except people keep growing, they keep becoming. And if you're not actively curious, you miss it. You end up in a relationship with the version of your partner from years ago while they quietly moved on without you noticing. This is how couples who love each other end up feeling like strangers, not because of betrayal or neglect in the dramatic sense, but because they stopped being genuinely interested in who the other person was becoming. Curiosity isn't a personality trait, it's a practice. And like any practice, it requires a space to do it, a recurring moment where it actually is invited. I know a couple who started asking each other one single question every Sunday evening. What's something you've been thinking about this week that you haven't said out loud? That's it, nothing fancy. And they told me it changed the entire texture of their relationship within a month because suddenly they were talking about real things again, not just the calendar. So let me give you 3 practical tips to take away from this episode. Tip number 1. This week, I want you to catch one moment where you notice you've been assuming something about your partner, about what they're thinking, what they meant, what they want, or what they've agreed to. And instead of acting on the assumption, just ask out loud, directly. Something like, I've been operating as if X is true for us. Is that actually what you want? Or, I realize I never actually asked you about this. Can I? This feels small, but it is not small. Surfacing one assumption can stop a fight before it starts, and it signals to your partner that you're actually paying attention to them. Tip number 2, I want you to separate the pressure valve from the emergency room. The goal this week is to get something small off your chest before it turns into something big. Most of us wait until we're already activated, already frustrated, already resentful, and then we try to have a productive conversation. It doesn't work. The nervous system is not on board, believe me. Instead, pick one small thing that's been quietly bugging you and bring it up deliberately, calmly, at a neutral moment, not as an accusation, just as information. Hey, there's something small I've been wanting to mention. can I have 2 minutes to chat? That's the pressure valve. That's what keeps the emergency room empty, right? We're releasing it versus everything's horrible. Now it's an emergency. Okay, tip number 3 for this week, ask one question you don't know the answer to. Before the end of this week, ask your partner one genuine question about who they are right now, not about the schedule, but about them. Here's some options, because I know we're exhausted. It's hard to think creative. What's been on your mind lately? Or is there something you've been wanting more of? Or what are you looking forward to? And then, this is the critical part, actually listen. Don't fix it. Don't redirect it. Don't one-up it with your own answer. And do not take it personally. Please just listen to your partner open up. This is building trust. Listen and then ask one follow-up question. That is not passive-aggressive. That is not a dig, but really a genuine question to get to know more of what they're thinking. That's curiosity in action. 2 minutes, real connection. Okay, let's bring this home. Those were 3 things couples do that sabotage their relationship without meaning to, without realizing it, often while loving each other deeply. They run on assumptions instead of conversations. They chase relief instead of repair. And they stop being genuinely curious about who their partner's becoming. None of these are character flaws, okay? All of them are fixable. And the fix, the one thing that interrupts all 3 patterns, is a regular, intentional, structured check-in. Not a once-a-year marriage retreat. Sorry, guys. I mean, those are great. But no, not a major overhaul. Just a weekly moment where both of you actually stop and check in for real and not about the schedule. That's what I've seen change marriages. Not grand gestures, not therapy breakthroughs, a simple habit done consistently with the right tools to make it stick. Which is exactly what the Weekly Reset teaches. It's a 6-week program where I walk you through how to build a couples check-in that actually works for your relationship. What to say, how to handle it when something hard comes up, and how to keep the habit going even when life gets busy. We start June 10th, and I'd love to have you there. Make sure to look up Weekly Reset in the show notes to learn more and to register. Okay, everyone. I hope that these were helpful in guiding you on better understanding ways you might be sabotaging your relationship without realizing it and giving you some practical ways to stop that pattern. I'll see you next week. Before you go, I want to leave you with this. The effort you put into your relationship is one of the most important investments you'll ever make. How you communicate and grow together shapes your home, your leadership, and the example you set for the people around you. Relationship work is truly legacy work, and it quietly impacts more lives than we often realize. If this episode resonated, consider sharing it with someone you care about, a partner, a friend, or another couple who's building a full life and want their relationship to be the best part of it too. And if you're enjoying these conversations, make sure to follow or subscribe to Relationship Reset. Leaving a rating or review also helps this message reach more couples who are ready to grow with intention. I'll see you next week.